afternoon, everybody. My name is Sharon, and this is my partner, Nadyne. So just a disclaimer, the information presented is based on research conducted by us, and not like actual researchers. So we encourage everyone to participate in the discussion and do your own research as well to be informed. So a little table of contents, just so you know what we're doing. In our presentation, we will talk about researching, financial help, and the benefits of furthering your education. We have a guest speaker and an activity at the end of the presentation. So you got your associate's degree, what's next? Wow, you can't see that, love that for me. So what are your options? You can continue your education through bachelor's or get your master's. I know some people tend to stay where they work right now and climb up the ranks, but let's assume you're planning on transferring. And my number one tip is research. It's like R cubed, but it's the same R, it's fine. So you're probably asking like research what? So what you'll research is career options. What kind of subjects are you interested in? Like, what's an example?
Psychology.
Oh, if you want to become a therapist, like if you're interested in psychology, you can become a therapist, a psychologist, a psychiatrist. Oh, yeah, psychiatrist. Why do I feel like I'm saying that wrong? Okay, psychiatrist. Thank you. Oh, my brain is not functioning today. This is what I'm saying. Or if you want to become a nutritionist, you would have to major in health science. Second is your environment. People don't really think about this, but if you prefer warm weather and you're in somewhere like Massachusetts where it's cold, you will get seasonal depression and you won't have any motivation to do anything, which is what I did in Boston. So you have to think about whether you prefer cold, warm, suburbs, if you want somewhere a little more peaceful, or the city, definitely think about that. School, do you prefer public, private? If you're an introvert like me, you would prefer small because you large is just a little too overwhelming. And you should think about your teacher to student ratio. If it's a large population, you usually can't talk to your professor like one-on-one, like an NMC, which is another perk of staying here and studying. Do they even offer the degree you're interested in? Like if you want to major in psychology, but they don't offer that degree, like what's the point? Finance, Nadyne will definitely talk more about it, but a little broad speaking, how much is your school's tuition, dorm, meal plan, scholarships, and this is the most complicated part, I'm telling you right now. So here are some bachelor's options offered at NMC. In School of Business, we have business management and business management accounting emphasis. School of Education, I actually didn't know we had so much like bachelor's options. We even have a pre-engineering associates now, which is cool. School of Education, there's early childhood concentration, elementary education concentration, rehabilitation and human services concentration, and special education concentration. Tips and tricks. Recommendation letters. I asked Miss Lundy, the health teacher, and Mr. Walsh. I recommend thinking about who you're going to ask in the long run, because you would want to choose a teacher who actually knows you as a person and as a student, or you can do it like me, where Mr. Walsh knew me as a student really well because I took 3 of his classes. And Miss Lundy, I talked to her a lot during class. You know how she's really active in her classes? Yeah, and you kind of have to, talk to her and show her your character. So that's why I asked Miss Lundy. Book appointments. Book appointments with people at OER and your advisor, because you will have to transfer credits. And if you're, let's say you thought your biology was a 1 credit transfers, but it doesn't. And you get to your university and you're like, I have to take biology again. No one wants to do that. Or math. No one wants to take math again. Okay. So definitely book appointments, talk with your advisor, and talk with you usually don't get assigned your advisor at the other university, but if you do, and if you can, then you should talk to them too. Your financial advisors, I told you, finance is the most complicated part. Email the advisors at the university because they are very, very willing to help you because they know your struggle. And they know, like, since you're a student, you don't really know what's going on in finance because you don't learn that in school. So they're very, very helpful. Common Apps, how many of you guys know what Common Apps is? Ah, that's my boy. Common Apps is like one website where you can send your applications like at one time. So they have your due date. You can send the link to your teachers for your recommendation letters. They can upload it straight away instead of sending it to you and then you have to upload it. Yeah, you can store all your information in there and all the schools that you're applying to can see it at one time. Okay, so you can go to my application. Right now, mine is the transfer student, which is what we're talking about, yes. But if you're like a high school student, then it would have like first year student and transfer student. You will go to first year. There's a long process before you get to this. It's only like this for me because I already did it. But you have to put in your personal information, your academic history, high school attended, your GPA, you know, the works. And then if you want to add a program or school, then you would go to this tab and find your school. Let's say you want to go to, wow, so slow. Okay. Well, this is where you find your school. You can search up by their, like, what major they offer or their school name. And when you're done, you would go to your submit application. And yeah, that's pretty much it with Common Apps. There's a lot of like countries. So they offer like Japanese universities, Canadian universities, and other European countries as well. So here are other resources that you can use. You can definitely talk to the people at OAR. They're a big help. Project PROA. You can come to us if you have any questions or if you just need like mentoring or guidance as to like, I don't even know what I want to major in. I don't know what I want to become. We have mentors for that and learning support services. So next I'll pass it on to Nadyne, who will talk about the finance part, the fun part.
Hello everyone. So just like Sharon mentioned, one of the biggest things you guys would want to do research on when you plan on transferring is your finance. So transferring to another college or university may be scary in regards to your finance, but we are here to help you. So here are some expenses to consider. So one would be your tuition. Another one would be your dorm, whether you want to live on campus or off campus, your meal plans. And you also want to think about like your book expenses. And one of the biggest ones I feel like you should do research on would be your travel and your transportation finance. For travel, this is a big thing to do research on because you would have to look at the prices for when you leave off island. And when you do plan to live out there, you have to look at will you be using the bus, riding taxis, Ubers, or will you be investing in your own car? And another good thing to look into would be your personal expenses. So like groceries or little like necessities. Like, do you want your own coffee maker in your room, your own mini fridge, and all those other things? Yeah, but not to worry, there are a lot of opportunities like scholarships and FAFSA. So the two main scholarships we have here on island is the CNMI scholarship and SHEFA. But just a little reminder for CNMI and SHEFA, it's basically a loan. So eventually you'll either have to come back here to work and to help, or you would have to pay them back. Another thing to look into would be the Matson, the Tanchelin Foundation, and the Lady Diane Torres. And you guys can also look into the AANAPISI grant. And of course, they have the federal student aid. But you can also look at scholarships that are offered at that university you plan on going. Okay, so one of the biggest things we want to talk about is WICHE. So WICHE is a Western Interstate Commission for Higher Education. And under WICHE, we have the UI. So that's the Western Undergraduate Exchange Program. So it is America's largest regional interstate tuition savings program. The Western Undergraduate Exchange is an agreement among it's actually 17 member states and territories through which 160 participants, public colleges, and universities provide state non-resident tuition savings for Western students. So here are the 17 states to look into. You can see there that we have the CNMI, and down here it just mentions the eligibility. And here are some of the sample states you want to look into. So I myself, I know a lot of people that go to these universities under the WICHI program. So if we look at an example as a non-resident for the University of Guam, it says that the tuition would be 13,000 some, but under the WE program, you will save about 3,000 some. So we'll just give you guys a minute to look into it. And our Zoom participants, if you're ready, you can just give us a thumbs up.
So we'll just go over it right now, but we can always come back to it if you guys need to, because this, okay.
Okay, so so benefits of furthering your education, or like, leaving the island, transferring, in games, you need experience to level up. And independence. Does everyone know who this is?
Lumpy Space Princess.
I knew it was something lumpy. Okay, so you can see Lumpy Space Princess being like, I'm doing so awesome on my own. Like right now, I found this 10 of beans. That's how she talks. This is true because I can always call my brother and he's like, dude, because he has never went into the kitchen here at home. It was always me. That's pretty sexist, but so he's like, yeah, I'm like cooking, I don't know, like fried rice or something. And I'm like, okay. Making connections. You will need connections for job searching. It'll make your life so much easier. So to be more specific, variety of experience. You can know how to tip. I didn't know how to do that when I first transferred, when I went to the States. Some people will chase you down. Like they'll come to you and be like, you didn't tip me the amount you're supposed to tip me. And then they'll like shame you. I was part of that. It was really scary. And grocery shopping, parents, they always have a calculator in their head. They're like, this is like $1 a pound, but this is like 50 cents a pound, but this is bigger, so this must be cheaper. And then they say all this like gibberish. And you're like, how do you do that? What do you even mean? But you will know how to do that when you move out. Money saving, which is something we all need to do, like me. Paying bills, like these are things we don't get taught in school, so you have to kind of go through it on your own in order to build up experience to level up in life. Independence, you will improve on your cooking skills. Like my brother, he can make like 5 Korean dishes or something. Cleaning, I know some people won't clean when they have their own house, and they'll only clean when they have guests over or dates. Watching you. And when you're living with family, you don't have time for yourself as much as you should. I know what it's like. It's hard for you to like have a peace of mind and being like, who am I? Like, what do I like? What do I don't like? But when you're alone, you have a lot of time to do that. Making connections, like I said, it'll be really, really easy for your job searching. Let's say you graduated from UNLV and you're like, oh, I want to work at Apple. And then your friend's like, oh, I know so-and-so whose mom, so-and-so, it works at Apple. And then you have all these connections, like people are all linked together. Friend groups, I heard from a lot of people that the people you meet at college is the people you'll like stick with for life. I don't know if that's 100% true, but that's what I heard from a lot of people. And it will make you open-minded because you will meet a lot of people who have different ethnicities, different experience, different sexualities. And they'll make you think like, oh my God, I haven't thought about that before. And it will make you like change your perspectives on a lot of things. So now we have our guest speaker, Nathaniel Snodgrass. So he is an alumni from Mount Carmel, and he graduated in 2017. We're both pretty old. He studied at NMC for 2 years before receiving his Bachelor of Arts in Economics from Gonzaga University, Washington. And he is currently an intern at the CNMI Office of Planning and Development at the Office of the Governor. So if we could give Nathaniel a big hand while he comes up.
Hi, guys. So first off, thank you so much for inviting me over. This was a huge surprise, and I was so excited when it was you who reached out to me, right?
Mm.
Regarding this opportunity, because I just graduated. And my transfer experience, even starting at NMC, was a huge roller coaster. So I think it was around spring semester of high school. I know it's not semester, but quarter, but around the springtime, I decided that I wanted to start at NMC. So I also had in mind to get my degree in economics because of how many windows it could open up for me. And the year I was going to apply to transfer universities was also the year of Typhoon Yutu. And when your community college is 80% destroyed from a super typhoon, I was like, what do you have to do? You know? So thankfully, I reached out to the former Project PROA director, Hedwig Hofschneider, as well as some of my other contacts, and they helped me navigate this journey. And when I finally got to Washington, it was a huge roller coaster as well. I had never lived stateside before, and it was a huge culture shock to me. So I can imagine that it can be a huge culture shock to a lot of you here who have spent the majority of your lives here like me. And right now, I just graduated. I'm working under the governor's office, and I'm currently jumpstarting a nonprofit to assist transfer students that were in my shoes during their undergraduate career. So the idea is to create a website that serves as a resource center to provide all types of tips and strategies and support for prospective transfer students or anyone really that is going through the community college route. So we're going to have application tips, no matter whether you're going to be applying to UH Manoa or UOG or even Harvard. You know, we want to help you get your essays done right, as well as your application and any sort of supplemental materials. Aside from that, we do want to provide more information regarding the financial aid pathways that you can take. I'm not too, does WICHE still exist?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not too familiar with the WUI and WICHE process. I didn't even know WUI existed, but you learn something new every day. And those are pathways that I'd like to help students out with, given that, you know, there are a lot of scholarship opportunities provided here at NMC, as well as on the national level. And making sure that when a prospective student from Saipan transfers and gets an affordable education is part of our mission. And lastly, I think the most exciting project over at this organization is going to be the transfer network. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach out to successful transfer students from the Marianas. We like to collect information regarding where they went to, what they got their degree in, as well as what courses from NMC transferred to make this whole process streamlined and as easy as possible for people from NMC. And is there anyone here that wants to, is a prospective transfer student or is thinking about transferring?
Everyone should be raising their hands by now. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Well, if you guys need any help, please reach out to me. My DMs are open and I'd love to help students out. It's definitely a process that is much more different from applying to college as a freshman, given that you had a high school counselor that would do a lot of the bulk of the work for you. But as a transfer student, you're expected to do things normally by yourself. So if you ever need help or advice on anything, the application process, I'm open.
Any questions for Nathaniel?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
Do you have like a estimate of when that nonprofit organization would be established here.
Established, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Mango just offered, which is the Marinus Alliance for Non-Governmental Organizations. It's the umbrella nonprofit here in Saipan that works with all the other nonprofits to help them going and as well as coordinate some activities. And Mango just offered us fiscal sponsorship. So Mango is going to take care of all our accounting needs. Mango is also going to assist with the policy process. We need to make our articles of incorporation as well as our bylaws. And lastly, they also provide some managerial guidance. So even for someone like me and who's been going through this complex college journey, as well as all these internship opportunities, starting a nonprofit is a totally different thing for me. But to answer your question, I'm looking to get it done within a year. And that's because I want to see first what types of funding opportunities can we get for the website. So has everyone heard of Wix before?
For the website creator?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Wix is like 150 a month. Honestly, the cheapest pathway going forward for us, if I'm not mistaken. The only challenge with Wix though is that you have to build the website yourself. So not only do you got to figure out what to put on, but you got to make sure that it looks nice, you know, and that's something that's not really in my department yet. I majored in economics, not digital arts. So, you know, that's definitely something that I'm working with my small team with to get it going. But I'm looking at less than a year because that's the timeline that Mango gave for us regarding fiscal sponsorship. And if there's any prospective transfers or anyone part of Project PROA that would like to give in some input into this project at a later time, or better yet, be a part of the project, do reach out to me because I'm willing to get some more people on board so that we can get this ball rolling. Because I know a lot of students need this, especially with the pandemic. Like it's just, I graduated during COVID too, so I kind of know a little bit how it feels to be juggling online classes, a full course load, and work and life and things like that. And what I want to do is make life at least a little easier for students during and after this pandemic.
Any other questions?
Sure,
How was
Joyce.
your experience like in Washington in general?
It's a good one. So it was challenging for me on the social and academic level. For one, like what Sharon said, no one wants to be taking math again. I didn't have to take math again, but I went straight into Calculus 1, and I went from college algebra to Calculus 1 without doing any pre-calculus. So that definitely was something that was a huge challenge too. But funny story, I did office hours once because I was having such a hard time preparing for an exam. And I don't know what signal I gave to my calc professor, but I was telling her that I'm from Saipan and things like that, you know, doing a little small talk. And she said, okay, so I think what I can do for you because of the language barrier is to, I didn't even know there was a language barrier to begin with. Like, do I sound foreign? I think I sound pretty American, you know, but she allowed me to take my exams for 2 test durations. So what there would be is a morning class and then an afternoon. And she's like, you can come in the morning, and if you're not done, do the afternoon. And that's how I passed. But aside from that, one of the things that Sharon touched up upon was living with someone else. And I do like to advise you that that's hit or miss. I had 2 roommates with me, and what they do in college is that they call it a suite. It's not like a hotel suite where it's nice. It's just like a dorm with like a living room. Did you have a suite as well?
No, it was too expensive for me.
Oh, well, The suite was the only option available for us because I had to say yes to Gonzaga pretty late, given my situation at the time. But I had a really good roommate and then a really bad roommate. And my other roommate, the really good one, I had no problem connecting with because he was from Hawaii and he's also a first generation Filipino, just like a lot of my friends here. I had to teach him how to cook rice. That wasn't something that he exactly knew how to do, but he also had a great work ethic. And another thing about him too was that he was 3 years older than me. So he's 25 right now, I'm 22, and he actually did a gap year or two while in college to take a break. And regarding the other roommate was it was very difficult. He definitely didn't know how to clean by himself. He would use all our dishes and not wash them properly. And it's funny how you mentioned, when there's a date, you'd expect them to do it. No, he still didn't do it with the date. But what else? He didn't know how to clean and things like that. So be sure that when you meet these people, you talk with them and really, set your boundaries. It's different depending on the case. Because Sharon, you shared a room with someone, right?
I shared a room with 3 girls.
Wow.
2 of them were from Massachusetts. 1 of them was from China. Like
Cool.
you said, like 2 of them were like totally fine. They didn't have any problems, but there was 1 girl. She was tough to live with. She was tough living with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a friend who, and this isn't just for transferring. This is for university life in general. When you're going to be living with someone else, like even if you go to UOG, you're probably going to be living in a dorm, like my classmates were. And I knew a girl who told me how her roommate was the worst because she would use her underwear, like borrow her underwear without even asking. So these are but I'm saying this because I'm telling you that there are people like that. And you need to be able to communicate with them effectively so that they're on the same page as you are. But aside from that, when it comes to academic work, I really encourage you to utilize all your resources. One thing I did here, even when I struggled in one class at NMC, was that I got tutoring at Project PROA. That was like my very first semester. I don't remember who helped me. I don't think they're on the team anymore. But tutoring services are always going to be great for you because they're going to take the best students within that subject in the university, and they're going to help you out, and they're going to simplify things for you, and they're going to make your life much easier. Aside from that, what I also recommend that you guys do while at NMC is, I didn't realize you were recording me, but another thing I do recommend that you guys do is attend office hours. How many of you here have attended office hours before? More of you should be raising your hands, especially if there are classes that you might find challenging or you need some extra guidance from your professor. Office hours are definitely going to be the way to go. And sometimes you can even schedule office hours for test prep, like they give you a mock exam and you do it, or if you just need additional help in general, the office hours is going to be the way to go. And aside from that, whatever campus you're going to have is going to be like NMC, where they hold events for students, whether that be a multicultural event, or I had like a Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander club, that was cool. I was like the only Micronesian there, but there was definitely a lot of bonding that went on, and there's a place for you. You just need to really utilize your resources and look for it. But regarding the transfer journey, I think the most you can get out of your transfer is some tips and advice regarding the transfer process. Back in high school, How many of you applied to a college off island here in high school? Did you guys have a counselor that would upload your transcripts or whatever? And no,
Yeah.
we all know what happened there. But in this process, you're doing the uploading yourself. You're going to be mailing your transcripts over to these universities. So the whole process, I wouldn't call it a double-edged sword, but you have more control of it. And getting those documents in is 100% your responsibility. So make sure you do it early. Any other questions, comments? No, that's good. Okay. Well, there's ever a time where you guys need some transfer advice or just advice on college in general, do give me a call or text. I'm always available for Project PROA as well as NMC.
Thank you, Nadyne. Thank you everyone for coming. And come again next Wednesday. Following. Also, next Wednesday, we have another presentation. So please attend that too. Go tell your friends. And thank you.